Are you retired and ready to travel? Here are 5 retirement mistakes I made so you don't have to. Number 1, I almost got scammed in Bangkok, Thailand. I realized that being a little bit older means I don't recover from jet lag as easily as I used to. And being tired makes you vulnerable to scams. My friend and I were in Bangkok looking for the Wat Arun temple. We probably looked like forlorn, lost tourists with our heads buried in our phones, trying to figure out GPS in a foreign language. There was a taxi driver parked at the corner. He stepped out of his car and offered to help us. Are you ladies lost? We said yes. We're looking for the Wat Arun temple. He said, "Oh no, that temple is closed today. There's a monk ceremony." I had checked the website that morning to make sure the temple was open. Then the taxi driver said, "I will take you to some better temples and some more interesting places. Just get in." And the little bell went off in my head, realizing I had read about a scam like this, where taxi drivers tell you something is closed and they offer to take you somewhere else, and then you end up at their cousin's pizza place being extorted to buy things you don't want to buy, or even worse. I told the taxi driver, "We'll just walk over that way and see if it's closed. And if it is, then we'll come back and hire you." Sure enough, that taxi driver got in his car and drove away. Even Ed the Explorer has learned, do not trust friendly taxi drivers who try to take you to an alternate location. Mistake number 2, not booking time tickets in advance for a big attraction. I talked about my experience in Hungary, in Budapest, trying to go to the Hungarian Parliament, the number 1 tourist attraction, and I had not booked an advance ticket. I got there, the line was around the block, and all the tickets for tours in English were sold out. Luckily, I found a tour that was being offered in French, and I speak enough French to be able to understand what was going on. And luckily, there were not a lot of French people trying to go on a tour that day. So I got in. Now, I know Ed doesn't speak French, but he probably doesn't speak much English either, so he didn't mind. I learned my lesson when I went to Edinburgh, Scotland, and I wanted to see the castle. I booked that ticket months in advance because I was going in August during the Fringe Festival, which is a very busy time. And I watched people get turned away while I was standing in line, and it was 10:30 in the morning, and those unprepared people walked up and were told there are no tickets available for the remainder of the day. The lesson learned here is, if you're going to a major attraction in a big city, look for a time ticket and book it in advance. Retirement mistake number 3, I overscheduled myself. I was on a 2-week trip covering the French Riviera. Places I'd wanted to go: Nice, Marseille, Arles. But the number 1 city I was excited about was Aix-en-Provence. Luckily, the afternoon I got there, I did have enough energy to take myself out to dinner and look around a little bit, because the next day I crashed. I could not get out of bed. I stayed in bed that whole day and ordered room service. I was so disappointed and mad at myself because I had spent a lot of Marriott points to get this fancy hotel with all the amenities I wanted to try out. Had no energy to do any of it. And my itinerary was scheduled so tightly, I didn't have time to make any changes, to readjust, to stay longer. I vowed I will go back to Aix-en-Provence one day. Ed the Explorer knows that you must take time to smell the roses. Retirement mistake number 4, packing like I was still 35 years old. I used to be a proud member of Team Carry On and lift that suitcase up into the overhead bin with no problems. Except I tried to do that recently with my admittedly overstuffed heavy carry-on bag, and I felt my shoulder rip, and I'm still dealing with that injury. Your body is more important than your pride. Check a bag if you have to. You don't have to fill up the check bag. Leave some room for shopping and souvenirs. I learned retirement is about comfort and ease. Be sure to take a smaller carry-on. That's what I do now. And I pack it with the essentials, of course, your passport, your medicines, and definitely pack at least one extra set of clothes in case your luggage does get lost for a little bit. The lesson learned here, I'm not a kid anymore. Ed the Explorer doesn't weigh much, but my carry-on suitcase did. Retirement mistake number 5, not choosing my flights carefully. Retirement travel is not about running through O'Hare Airport, trying to make your connection with a 45 minutes in between flights, and your arrival flight is delayed, and you did that to save $50. It's not worth the hassle. Now I take nonstop flights whenever possible. I don't book myself at 6 a.m. in the morning unless it's absolutely necessary. I upgrade to Comfort Plus when I can, and I am very careful about my seat selection. Let me give you an example what happens when you don't follow through on that. I was in Helsinki, Finland, and I got caught up in the Finnair strike. I had a great flight, all set, Helsinki to JFK nonstop. It got canceled, and I was rebooked on a connecting flight through Chicago. I wasn't able to follow up to get a seat assignment on that Chicago to LaGuardia flight. And guess where I ended up? Last row of coach, middle seat. Couldn't have been worse. Luckily, that was not a very long flight, but still. In retirement, you have the time. Choose good flights. Even Ed the Explorer knows that part of travel is the journey, and getting there should be done deliberately and selectively. What I would like you to take away from this video is to 1, verify before you trust a local taxi driver. 2, book your timed tickets for major attractions in major cities in advance. 3, don't overschedule yourself. Build rest into your itinerary. Number 4, check a bag if you have to, if you just don't have the strength to lift a bag into the carry-on overhead bin anymore. And number 5, choose your flights and your seats wisely. Retirement travel does give you more freedom, but freedom works better with just a little bit of preparation. Drop me a comment and let me know what travel mistake you made or what travel mistake you are determined not to make. Thanks for watching.